I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. Today, I'm going to be discussing the shooting in Uvalde, Texas at the Robb Elementary School that took place on yesterday. To count, as you very well know, so far, 19 children, all of them under the age of 10 years old, were killed. And 2 teachers also have lost their lives, and there potentially could be others within the hospitals that were in that Robb Elementary School on yesterday. I've had enough of this, quite frankly. Maybe that's the wrong. I'm trying to say my anger. No, that is not what I want to say either. I could very easily say this and you would say, oh, that's so Pentecostal, that's so churchy-like. I could say we're in the tribulation, so therefore these things are happening. There's a couple of downsides to that. One, you say, well, if we're in the tribulation, nothing can be done to stop it. But what I want to say is this, is that God gave to me, his name is Jesus, a program called the Joseph Project, primarily to deal with shootings by young men and of course, from time to time, young women, and street violence. And as I've outlined, and many have called it a racist outline, Japheth young boys shoot in schools, or as were in the Tops supermarket, or in the Walmart in El Paso, the Top supermarket in Buffalo, or the church down in Sulphur Springs, Texas. They shoot in group organizations, Japheth young men. And of course, Hamite young men shoot each other, and they shoot generally at night. And now I can say they've become more bold, and they're shooting each other in the streets of Harlem here, and ghettos, or if you will, communities, urban communities around America. I want to say to you, I want to give you some graphics, and I don't mean to yuck you up, but I want you to understand something, because I'm going to ask something of all of you. I'm going to ask something of all of you under the Joseph Project that you probably are going to reject. But I want to lay out this scenario before I ask you of this. In Sandy Hook in Newtown, Connecticut, the children were younger. Some of them were toddlers. And the weapon that was used was a stone-splitting AR-15, which, if it hit the head of a 5 or a 6 or 7-year-old, it would take most of the head of that child off and make them unrecognizable. Last night, while the officials were trying to identify the children as parents waited for the news about their child who did not walk out of their classroom, DNA testing and other kinds of things had to be determined because physical features of the children were desecrated by the power of that AR-15 rifle that young boy carried into that school on yesterday. Splitting their heads, knocking off their limbs. You might find one person's limb lying beside a young girl and another boy's limb lying all the way across the room. That's how ugly it was. And if the bullets penetrated the face, it blew the entire face off. There was nothing left of the face. If the parent did not know what the child was wearing when they left for school that morning, they could not necessarily identify their child. Those AR-15s make mush. They make mush out of a body, and that's what they're designed to do at war. But when a hot AR-15 bullet caliber hits the head of a 10-year-old, it just blows brains, scatter, ears, eyes, all go in 1,000 different directions. And that young man locked himself in the classroom with those 10-year-olds. And he was in there for 30 minutes with them, barricaded. The police could not break the door down. I'm concerned, why couldn't they break the door down? He was in there for 30 minutes to shoot and kill whosoever he wanted. And it was a bloodbath inside of that. Now, I know this is awfully gross, and as I said before, I don't want to yuck you out. But it was just a bundle of blood and bones and legs and arms, eyes strewn all over that of those beautiful little children that went to school that morning, and they shall never return home to their parents. I would talk to you more about the Joseph Project on a local scale and also on a national scale. But I can talk to you about the tribulation, and yes, there can be some things that can be done, even though we are in the tribulation. That's why I'm here. But I want to say this, that we need to start a movement across America to ask every gun owner this one question: would you give up your guns to bring back just one of those young boys or young girls that died on the 24th of May at about 1:30, whatever time it was, 11:30 in the morning at the Robb Elementary School there in Uvalde, Texas? Would you? Would you give up your gun or guns if it would bring back just one of those children and they could go home to their parents? You would say, yeah, well, it's impossible to happen because the child is dead and giving up your guns, now it's going to not bring them back. I don't know that that's an accurate answer. But what I want you to do, see, you got people like Ted Cruz, all these senators out there now making hay on either side of the gun control, gun safety, NRA argument, lobby argument. But that's not going to go anywhere. They pay everybody. But what I'm saying to you through the Joseph Project nationally is that we can't expect the politicians to solve this problem. And even where they pass stricter gun laws, you can make a gun now, and there are enough guns already in circulation to give all the killers the guns that they want. So stricter gun laws, universal background checks, it's just a lot of, if you will, political manure. You and I have to do something. You and I can do something, and we can do it emphatically by raising this question. Would you give up your guns if doing so would bring back the life of just one of those precious little children that died yesterday at the Robb Elementary School there in Texas? Would you? Or would you say, I'd rather keep my gun, let the child stay dead? I don't know. Is there anybody out there that would say no to such a question? And by the way, if you're going to argue that the child is dead so you can't bring the child back, don't be so quick to argue that. Because the gun that was used in many of the shootings and killings were once owned by somebody else. So the question is this. The question is, spiritually, it would raise the issue that it isn't the shooter that's the problem, it's the guns that are killing people. I know you heard guns don't kill people, shooters do. That was ridiculous from the first get-go. And I'll talk to you about the Second Amendment, but what I want to talk to you about is life, the precious life of children. And then I'm going to leave that for a second and think about it. Because if you're going to say, no, I'm not giving up my guns. No, I would not give up my guns to bring back a child. Then I don't know what else I can say to you. I don't know what else I can say to you. And I have to tell you, there will be people who would argue, no, I'm not giving up my guns. No, I'm not giving up my guns. Because And there'll be politicians who will say, no, I'm not going to stop taking money from the NRA. I love being a senator. I love all the fancy food. I love all the highfalutin. And I need money. I need money to buy off the votes. So let the children die. Because that's what it comes down to. That's what it comes down to. Now I'll talk to you about the Second Amendment in just a moment. There are a whole lot of things that, in terms of the Constitution, that needs a closer look. But my question to you, well, let you simmer on that. But you know, there are people, imagine this, if everybody gave up their guns, and I pause there because that is a question that many people would rather give up having sex or eating food before they give up their guns. And they're going to look at me like somehow or another, I'm sort of a strange person that's anti-gun. We ain't going to listen to him no more. Let's get rid of why? I'm simply asking you, I'm saying to you that you got the power to save a child's life. And the power has to be exercised through the giving up of your weapon. Would you save a child's life by giving up a weapon? Does that make me a monster? Or anti-Second Amendment, whatever the hell that means? Now, more gonna die tomorrow, if not today. You may have noticed it's getting worse. You may have noticed on the Japheth side, I'll get to the Hamites, that's black folk. Japheth, that's white folk, white boys. I'll get to the Hamite. But on the Japheth side, it's always within that age category of 18 years of age. Even Kyle Rittenhouse over yonder the other day up there in that upstate. Was it Missouri? It's all within that 18-year range. The boy that was up there in Buffalo at the Tops Market. The boy that's a few miles down at the Robb Elementary School. It's all within that 18-year age of those boys. What's going on in their lives? And up in Sandy Hook, I think the boy was like even younger, 15 or 16. What's going on in the lives of Japheth households? That this disease, this demented disease. And then the other thing is that what is going on in the mind of an 18-year-old boy that walks into a classroom with 7 and 8-year-old girls and boys, and he starts shooting them? Who the hell raised him? Who's your mama? Who's your daddy? I understand he shot his grandmama before leaving to shoot the children. I mean, okay, at least the Hamites. They say, finally, Pastor Man, to get the Hamites some credit. Praise God. Mark this down. Hamites, that's black people, young boys, they may shoot at another 17 or 15-year-old that's shooting at them, or, accidentally shoot a 12-year-old. But Hamites don't shoot little children. Hamite boys at 18-year-old don't shoot 9 and 10-year-olds. They don't do it. You never heard of it. And then do it in mass. Something as sick as hell is going on in America, in the Japheth crowd. And the Hamites kill each other. Listen, let me tell you something. Hamites have killed more people than they killed in the war in Vietnam and Afghanistan together in one place, in Chicago. They're killers, no doubt about it. But not babies, not children, not 9-year-olds. I mean, to say something is rotten in Denmark is not to, listen. So what would you do? Would you give up your gun? If God would make it possible right now, I tell you here, let me put it to you this way, because so you can obfuscate me, you can run around and do all kinds. Let me say, why don't you do this? Can I ask you to do this? Tell God that you'll give up your guns if he'll bring back one of those children that died yesterday. Tell him. And if you don't tell him, that means you are saying, I ain't give him up my gun. Let him keep on dying. Go ahead, it's either one or the other, because I'm posing the question. Or you can just totally ignore me. You can just erase me and run and grab the Second Amendment. Now, I'm the lawyer, but the Second Amendment is mainly for a ready militia, not a ready mass murderer. When you read the Second Amendment carefully, and I can understand there are times in which you might need a gun, but the Second Amendment was put together not to create mass murderers, but to create a ready militia to defend. And it was written during the days of our surviving the British, the Redcoats, Cornwallis, and all that crowd from King George over yonder across the pond. But that they have obfuscated that the way Obama did with the 14th Amendment in the matter of same-sex marriages, saying that you can marry interracially. Miscegenation is illegal. You can marry. So therefore, if you can marry interracially, you can marry same-sex. It was an obfuscation. It was a trick of the devil. It was an outright lie. It was a fraud, is what it was. That same-sex marriage that took back in 2015 that was ruled on by the courts, the U.S. Supreme Court. What gun lobbyists have done is that they have used the Second Amendment, which was designed to create a militia, not a mass murderer of little children. You got to figure this out. What the hell? You mean to tell me this man had a grandmama? I guess he had a mama. And they didn't see that he had the potential? I mean, what kind of person? Come on now. What kind of a person shoots a 10-year-old in the head with a military bullet that is able to penetrate a tank? And not just one, but as many as he can possibly kill. The only reason why he didn't kill more is because they killed him before he could kill more. What's going on inside these homes? What's going on? Well, Pastor, man, I used to like you. I tell you what's the truth of Apostle God, but now you done start messing with my First Amendment right to carry guns. And here you got about 25 guns on the wall in your house. You got more guns on your house than you got pinup girls. I swear. I mean, do you have orgasm? You take that AR-15, you rub that bad boy, rubbing that AR-15. I'm having an erection, rubbing my to it. Oh, Lord, have mercy. I'm having an orgasm. I'm having an AR-15 orgasm. AR-15 orgasm. Put it back on the wall. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? I suppose that sometimes you have to make a sacrifice. Just because something is legal doesn't mean it's lawful. Now, that's from the Apostle Paul. But just because you have a right to bear arms, it doesn't mean children should die to protect your right. At some point, there has to be a reckoning. At some point, you have got to come to some kind of an understanding that, wait a minute. My automobile will do 160, right? I have driven fast, too, by the way, so I end up a little bit of a pickle with this one. But I'm not going to run down the streets of Harlem or New York City down Fifth Avenue at 160 miles an hour just because my car will do it. What is going on, America? And then here come the media. Oh, Lord, have mercy. We couldn't even find out what happened down there with Purdue and Kemp down there in Georgia. Herschel Walker and that other woman down there. Couldn't find out what? Couldn't find out nothing. Couldn't find out nothing. My God, you had to go to Georgia to find out. Even down the people in Georgia couldn't get nothing on the news. All night long. Here they come. As if somehow that they can solve the problem. But they can't. But God's given me the Joseph Project. And I can tell you this, you can do what you want, say what you will, but, imagine if all Americans said, If I could just bring back one of those children, I'll give up my guns. In fact, I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give up my guns, even though maybe God's not going to bring the child back, but at least my gun will not be used to kill another child, and my neighbor's gun will not be used to kill another child. And what is it with these families that buy these 17-year-old boys 17 years and 364 days, and on the 317 year and the 365 day, they buy the fool an AR-15. I mean, start out with a 22 or something. Damn. An AR-15 to get stopped at 18 years old, the thing is taller than he is and heavier than he is. What is with these parents? What kind, I mean, you don't give your child, when you buy a car for your child, you don't always go on the lot and buy them a Corvette, a brand new Corvette. You start them out with something, a clunker. What is it with these parents? There's something wrong. There's something wrong. No, there's something wrong. And it beyond saying it's a tribulation, but I got news for you. You know, that at least the Hamites, Hamite young boys, now they will kill you. I'm telling you, they'll kill you. They will kill you in a heartbeat. A Hamite 18-year-old will kill you at night at 2 o'clock in the morning and go home and make a bologna sandwich with a lot of mayonnaise and some lemonade if you don't get a beer to drink it with it. And they won't even think about you being dead no more. I'm telling you, he'll do it. However, they don't walk inside of a school or church and start killing church mamas and deacons, and they don't do that. There's something about the integrity, even though the neighborhoods and the homes they're raised in is lacking a whole lot of things. But it at least understands, give a 10-year-old a chance to live. Give a 10-year-old a chance at least to have a first date. Give a 10-year-old at least the time to live to be 18 before you start pumping them full of bullets. But not these Japheth boys. Not these Japheth boys, my God. And here, well, now I understand that we can't stop the killings. Yes, you can. If you didn't have that gun and your neighbor didn't have that gun, well, they'll use knives. Well, I see where you're going. You just don't want to bring back a child. God will give you the power to resurrect one of those beautiful little children that died at Robb Elementary School the other day. And you say, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to keep my gun. And anybody who tries to take my gun will become my perpetual enemy. Why? Why? You know, I've said this, and I'll say it again, that these killings are going to continue. You think that's the last one? They're going to continue. And you don't know where the next one's coming from. It just, out of the blue, you hear the reports, 12, 14, 15, 20, 25, 30 people killed inside a school. And then the news covers it, and then they go on to something else. And they hit next week, you hear it, and then they go on to something else. Some people who studied violence in America has prognosticated, that is to say, they have stated that June is going to be the most violent month since D-Day back in 1944 or 43 or whenever it was, or 45, I don't know. June, the landing on Omaha Beach is going to make what's going to happen, especially in the urban areas with the Japheth, the Hamite boys. I'm getting Japheth and Hamite people mixed up today. What's wrong with me? I'm tired. The Hamite boys are going to start killing come June. Like you ain't never seen before. You live in a big city, stay home. If you pray that COVID would get you first, because they're going to kill. No, you're going to see killings, and I'm not the one that's prognosticating this. The people who study crime statistics realize that there's several factors. There's inflation, there's high prices, there is COVID-19, there is political, racial tension going on, there's, if you will, the Black Lives Matter, who have raised up a standard against the police, defund the police, disrespect, not only defund the police, Black Lives Matter come up with their vicious, crazy, maniacal monster selves. They come up with not only defend, but to disrespect the police. So you're going to see, you're going to see. But let me go back to these politicians for just a moment. You know, they all get on the floor. Ted Cruz allowed Trump, they call him, you got an ugly wife. And they called him Lying Ted. And Trump danced up, made a record out of it. And Ted Cruz went up and kissed Trump's rear end just as tight as he could kiss it. So I don't expect much from Ted Cruz, you know, but he gets money. So I wanted to be able to say that if you would give up your guns to bring back one child. You know, that spirit, it needs to be raised in every church across America. It needs to be raised in every political forum, whether it be the U.S. Congress, the U.S. Senate, the state houses, legislators, governors. It needs to be a slogan on television, on all the news programs. Would you give up your guns to bring back one of those children? Suppose we could get a campaign in every newspaper, on every television channel, and a debate in every hall of Congress. Would you give up your guns? And then show the faces of some of them beautiful little children that died yesterday up there at the Robb Elementary, down there at the Robb Elementary School. Show their faces and say, would you give your guns to bring up this child back alive? And the answer would be the person who don't want to do it. Well, I can't bring the child not come back alive, so I'm not giving up my gun, so I don't have to answer that. But no, you see, if everybody said yes, then there'd be no more guns out there to kill. If everybody said yes. So you say, well, what if only half people say yes? Well, it would cut down violence to almost a standstill if just half of people who own guns said, you know, I like my guns, I like my Second Amendment, I want my constitutional right, I don't want nobody taking up my constitutional right off of my table, I won't take nothing off of you if you don't take nothing off of me. I like that. But I think if giving up that right would save a child, doggone it, I'm ready to give it up. I'm ready to give it up and live another day. And that has to be expressed across America. Imagine if we could get that message out across America. Imagine if we could get that out across America. And we get half of the people who are gun owners. Now, you got some diehard gun owners. I can tell you what, that boy that shot them people up there in Buffalo, the boy shot them people down in El Paso, the boy shot them people up there in Sandy Hook, the boy that shot them people down there in Sutherland Springs, Texas. I can tell you this right now. They tell you no, I ain't giving up nothing. In fact, I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill all these young people. And then killing of young people, Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. I pray that the Hamites don't get, I don't know what it is. I think we need to get some doctor, some psychologist to diagnose what it is that's causing these Japheth boys at 18 years old. Well, first of all, let's start with their parents to allow them to have a damn gun in the house. What's wrong with them? Well, these parents. What's wrong with you? And then try to get a diagnosis on why they want to kill children. What's wrong with you? Why you want to kill children? Your mama and your daddy out there marching in Washington, D.C., talking about stop the abortion, save the babies. Every life is worth it. They're marching up and down in the cold. They're marching everywhere, carrying signs, talking about right to life and save the baby and all that. Your parents, your grandparents, your uncles, your churches, your pastors, all out there. And hell, here you come, killing children after they come out the womb. Your children are killing children. You're running around here thinking so noble. We're going to protect the right of children. And I'm not for abortion. You know I'm not. No, I ain't for no abortion. You ain't got to have no abortion. But I'm trying to show the hypocrisy of this. Running around there all over everywhere, marching everywhere on television, talking about it. And yet your children are killing other children. And you say, well, I have a right. I have a right to have a gun. No, this thing is... You know, it's a tribulation. We're in it. I'm telling you, I'm warning you now. Get ready for the summer. Get ready for a summer from hell. Get ready. You're going. I tell you what you better do. You better buy yourself a car with a lockdown gas tank on it. Well, why you want to do that? Because people are going to be stealing gas in the middle of the night. They're going to put a rubber tube down in your tank and get a 5-gallon can and suck on. and get that gas flowing back up out there and put it in there, five gallon, and then they're going to go put it in their car because gasoline is going up to $10 a gallon and people can't afford it. Carjacking, just because you just want to get a car. They're going to jack your car just to get to work. That's what's coming. A summer from hell. At least one thing you can be assured of, schools will be closed, so there won't be too many school shootings because they'll be closed. They'll have to wait till August or September to get back to doing that again. But they still got these supermarkets. They got Walmart. They got Tops. And they can go to churches, which means I need to talk to people in our church as well, because after I said this, somebody might be coming from me. Well, Pastor, man, I tell you, brother, man, now you're wrong about that. We have the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, the Second Amendment, the guns don't kill people, people kill people. Okay, I see where you are. I see. But, social media plays a major part in this as well. These people like these games where you see cars jamming and killing and people shooting and robbing and, all these robots and all these people walking through walls and shooting and carrying on. It's crazy. It's crazy. And somebody needs to say something about it. I want to turn the corner for a second. I want to say this to you. I have been the pastor of an extraordinary group of people, teachers and superintendents and principals that run our school every day. I don't do nothing. They don't even look at me. But I have an extraordinary group of people. These are some of our young students. See, now look how beautiful they are. These are some of our young. That's our grand stairwell, by the way. We've decorated that bad boy, that grand stairwell, and those are some of our young children in the stairwell there. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Now, what you need to see, and those of you who you're real against me. But I have protected those children for years. There's never been a gun inside of our school. Never, because of the spiritual authority that I have. I don't take tea for the fever. I don't do. But I want you to think about something. Suppose that boy that went down there in that Robb school yesterday came in our building and all these children were there. He just shoot the hell out of them. Ain't that nothing? Now, a lot of people, well, Pastor, man, he ought to be more loving. I tell you, preachers ought to preach about love, because love is what we need. Love. God so loved the world. And they ought to preach about prosperity too, but he always up there talking about righteousness. And always giving people, he's very authoritarian. Pastor, man, he's very legalist, he's very authoritarian. And on and on. Yeah, I'm God's servant. Shut your mouth talking about me before you swallow a dose of poison. But I ain't going to let nobody come in this church and shoot these children. I ain't going to let that happen. No, son. Do we have another photo of another group of this children and another status? Do we show all three groups of it? We did? Yeah. I want to show you what we do here up here in Harlem. I want to show you what we do. Look at that. Those are... I think that's at one of our graduations. Ain't that pretty? Ain't that beautiful? Look at that. Ooh, look at that. And yeah, you can say what you want, And I have to tell you, you got people running around here, like people like that Eddie Glaude, or that Cornel West up there in Harvard or wherever he's at. He's back over at Union now, I think. He's up there at Harvard. Over there, Eddie Glaude out there at Princeton, talk about, I'm a professor of African studies and African. What the hell are you studying about Africa? You don't want to go there. You don't live there. Why don't you study Eskimos in their igloos? I'm a professor of African studies at Princeton. You have to have the African studies, but he ain't never founded no school. He ain't never started no school. He has never walked a child from kindergarten to 12th grade to college to law school. He ain't never done nothing like that. So as far as I'm concerned, he ain't nothing but a phony. He ain't nothing but a wannabe. He's a wannabe African studies. I've taken the African, so-called African, they're not African. I've taken the African-American children and walked them through kindergarten to high school to law school to medical school. I've walked them there. What have you done? So all this nonsense going on about Africa and African-American studies and all that, and yet you haven't built anything, haven't done anything. But I have. But imagine somebody coming in. You ain't coming in this church building and you ain't killing nobody. And I can tell you that right now, going to be over my dead body. And a dead body, a whole lot of us. And you know what I think? You come in this church, you act like crazy. Forget about the men. The women beat you half to death. Look at this. That's what this church has done. That's what I have a school. I don't have. The school is in the church. They call me the pastor, and I am. But these are these dedicated teachers and superintendents and principals that do all the work all the time. I don't do nothing. They had picture day the other day, and I didn't go down there. So, but you ain't coming in here with that mess. And I teach these young boys. I can tell you this. Miss Engine, put that picture back up there again. You will never see one of these young boys, from the youngest to the oldest. You will never see any of them with an AR-15 in their hand. I guarantee you, unless they're in the military. Put that other one back there where them young boys sitting on that beautiful grand staircase, the ATLAH grand staircase. You'll never see, you see these young boys right here and the young girls, you will never see them with an AR-15 in their hand unless they're in some sort of military enterprise. And I have to say this to you. So the Joseph Project mainly is to get men in prison who understood that they've gone down the wrong road, made some mega mistakes in life, and they're willing now to try to come out and help some others. That'll stop a lot of the killing. It'll stop a lot of the violence. And it'll also take away, I would think that some of these men that come out of prison could run for political office. I would never be a politician. They lie too much. And they could run for political office and could make some change. And I believe that many of these men come out of prison wouldn't need a whole lot of money they wouldn't need the NRA, They got a prison down there in Brother Honaker's part of the world, Louisiana State Penitentiary. It's considered one of the worst penitentiaries on the planet. Somebody said you'd rather be in jail in Russia than be in the Louisiana State Prison. That day, what's the name? Where's that city? What city is that person there? It's awful. But I guarantee you, there's at least 40 men in that prison right now where they're given a chance to get out of prison and help other people. I guarantee they live right. They'd never throw another brick at a jailhouse. They'd never so much as bust a grape, because they've learned their lesson. And that happens. That does happen. It happened with me, and I'm not the only one. But we need to come to terms, everybody, with, it ain't gonna stop by passing legislation. So all you politicians sit down and shut the hell up. It ain't gonna happen because the media covers it and exposes it. It ain't gonna happen because of that. It ain't gonna stop because of that. It'll stop when those who have all these guns are willing to give them up to make sure children will live. So I want to be able to say, listen, I'm through here just about for today. But I want you to keep focused on the Joseph Project, and I'll be talking more about it. I've been talking a lot about the foreclosure and the Jericho first fruits, and I haven't gotten to the Rahab sacrifice yet, except for the little bit of extra I did on Saturday. But I will be talking to you about that, more about the foreclosure and the Jericho first fruits, and probably starting as early as Monday after Memorial Day, maybe Tuesday, we're going to start putting up some of the beautiful things that Sister Charlene Humphrey has given to us for auction, so we start raising money. And I have to tell you that we had a court appearance today. If you read the New York Times article, you may have noted that we were in federal bankruptcy court this morning at 10 o'clock before Judge Lisa G. Beckerman, and the trust company was trying to lift the automatic stay that were given in bankruptcy protection so they could proceed with the sale of the church property within a few days. And I have to tell you today we got a favorable ruling. Praise Almighty God. Judge Beckerman said no, it's denied. Denied. You cannot. You need to give the church the opportunity to reorganize and to make a payment plan on the. So we want to thank God for that ruling. That was a lifesaver today. So today is a great victory day. Just a great victory day that we got that ruling from Judge Lisa G. Beckerman. It ain't over with yet. As I told you, the fight continues. But at least the trust company finally got a judge to tell them, no, you're not going to do that to the church. So thank God for that. Thank God for that. Thank God. And thank all of y'all for standing with me. Now, we got to keep on fighting. It ain't over with yet. It ain't hardly over with yet. But we're going to win. Now, I want to tell you that. I want to tell you that we're going to win. We're going to win. And it may take us a little bit more time and a little bit more prayers, but we're going to win. And it's going to be a great win when we do. So I want to encourage you. I want you to know that your money, and I believe, now I don't know for sure, but I believe one of the contributing factors of the judge's decision today was that she saw her name in the New York Times. And we clearly outline in the New York Times the services that we render to the community for the past 40 years, the homeless shelter, the 1 million meals that we have served, the school K through kindergarten and then into college, to Juilliard, to Yale, to accepted at Yale, to New York University, to Cardozo, to New York Law. She saw that in the paper and was concerned that the great work we are doing far outweighs the claim made by these trust people who are nothing more than, if you will, thieves robbing blind poor people. So we got a victory today. The judge denied, and then the judge told her, and don't bring this motion back to the court no more for another 90 days. Don't just run out the door and write another motion and try to get back in here again. She said, I deny you that as well. So I was just jumping up and down up in here this morning because, we did it online. We weren't inside the actual courtroom. But we still got a lot of work to do. We have a lot of work to do. Now, I have to tell you as well that I've been doing 1 hour specials. I've been combining the Trust in the Lord with the Manning Report. I haven't had a vacation, friends. I haven't had a vacation in years. I haven't. And I may decide, I'm working now with a very dedicated fundraiser who's been talking to people like Denzel Washington and Billy D. Williams to come and to raise funds for us. Ain't that nothing? He's been talking to them, and they know who I am. He said they're going, and I didn't say they've agreed, but he's working on it. He's working on trying to get them to come. He said that Billy D is an artist, and he's going to paint our church and just do some things and then try to auction it off and get Denzel Washington to come. I'm not always crazy about these movie stars, but, but if they want to come and help us save the church and save the community, you're going to see more about this, Save Our Church. It's going to be online pretty soon, put up by the Spirit of Liberty Foundation. And so he's been in contact with a whole lot of people that have celebrity status that he wants to put together to raise those funds for us in a matter of a heartbeat. And I got something from Sister Charlene Humphrey the other day, a note from her stating that when her grandmother, I think her grandmother, Miss Wallace or somebody, I'll have to read it again the right way, that Babe Ruth, Babe Ruth, the great baseball player, right? Babe Ruth wanted to marry either her grandmother or mother's somebody that was Babe Ruth wanted to marry, but she turned him down. She didn't want to marry Babe Ruth. She was in love with another man. She did. She turned him down. But he stayed in love with her. He kept sending her gifts and writing letters to her. Babe Ruth did, right? And some of the things that she had, the letters and everything, memorabilia, was stolen. Some thief stole some stuff from her some years ago, but she got some over, and she said she's going to bring that to me from Babe Ruth, and we're going to take that right to Sotheby's, and have them auction it off. So a lot of people are joining. I think, I said, I don't know for sure, but I think that Judge, and even if Judge Beckerman had not seen the article, I think she'd just rule common sense. This stuff is, give the people a chance. Oh, you're going to shut down the church, shut down the school. What's wrong with y'all? You're worse than the people killing people in schools. You law firm, you trust company, this Mellon Bank, y'all are worse than these school shooters. Going to shut down the school, shut the homeless shelter. And make a $3 million profit off a $36,000 tax? What is the world coming to? So thank God we got that victory today. Now, so we'll be coming together again tonight for our breaking of the fast at 7 o'clock. We pray that y'all will be online for that. And I want to show you something, Mr. Engineer. We have. I want the people to see what we do with our school, what we do with our young people. It's a real blessing. We have served over 1 million meals. We cooked and served 1 million meals. And guess what? We got our bookkeeper who also works as a professional chef. Her name is Sister Matos. She got our children eating off a ceramic plate. You give a child a meal, you on a plastic plate, or you give them on, you don't give them those ceramic plates because you got to wash dishes after that. We won't have a dishwasher. No, but Sister Matos got our young people eating first class. eating off of ceramic plates. No, we've been working in this community for years and years and loving the children and loving the people. I know what people say about me, and I think people know better. Yeah, he ain't for the black man. I think they just say that because they want me to get off their case. I think they know. Look at all this love coming in. Look, these are your children. Look at that. Our own parents don't even treat them. You got to be in a Japheth neighborhood, where they got plenty of money to get the kind of love and food and that we just give out so naturally here at the ATLAH Church. So y'all remember us in your prayers and pray for us and make sure that you give to us as well. And so here in the Joseph Project, I wanted to be able to say that about, and y'all don't have to fall out with me, because the life you save may be the life of yours or your grandchildren. This has got to stop in America. It has got to stop. And even in the midst of the tribulation, I believe that God will stop this. I believe God will stop. I believe God will save the children, suffer the little children to come unto me, and forbid them not, for such is the kingdom of God. So thank y'all for letting me do all 1 hour specials this week. I may just do 1 hour specials all Angola. Yeah, that's where they're. Angola, Louisiana. That's that prison down there. I might go down to Angola. And I might go out to, I ain't going to tell you what I'm going to be doing this summer, because COVID-19 is running around here like crazy. And I got to stay healthy for the church. They tell me Elder LaFleur told me that he's suffering with a cold. He's coughing. I talked to him this morning. He hardly recognized his voice. So don't come around me. Stay home for the next 3 weeks. Don't come nowhere near me. Now, I stay home that long. But anyway, all right, everybody. The Joseph Project will save lives. Ask your neighbor, would you give up your gun if you could just bring back one of those beautiful children from down there in Robb Elementary School, down there in Uvalde, Texas? I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant, and don't you ever forget it.
I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. I shall not be moved. When my burden's heavy, shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. I shall not be moved. When I need your guidance, I shall turn to you. Lord, when I need your guidance, I shall turn to you, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. Oh, I shall not be moved. Lord, when I need your power, I shall turn to you. Lord, when I need your power, I shall turn to you, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. I shall not be moved. Lord, when I need your healing, I shall turn to you. Lord, when I need your healing, I shall turn to you, just like a tree that's planted by the waters. Oh, I shall not be moved. I shall not be moved. Lord, I shall not be moved, just like a tree that's planted by the